So for many of the players that I've worked with, we've gotten to a point where I can explain to them, you can dictate your shot shape by the way your lead hip moves, okay? So what I've got here on the ground is the clock face. And what that is 12 o'clock at the target line, 6 o'clock here at the camera, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. The way the hip moves at the start of the downswing can dictate the general direction in which the golf ball will shape. Now again, this isn't absolute. You must understand that it does take some practice, but when you do get the practice right and you get the movement pattern correct, you will see more often than not the shot shape, whether it be a draw or a fade, can be a result of the direction which the hip moves in. So what we're going to start with is the traditional player who moves the club over the top. So when I get to the top of the backswing, we'll see a player move the club over the top. What we see is that the hip movement to start the way down, now whether this be at the start of the downswing or as a result of the hands moving, will end up moving to about 11 o'clock on the clock face position. So my hips are now facing that 11 o'clock on the clock face. My hands and arms are working outside and I'm cutting across the golf ball. Now if I want to hit a draw shot, and most players traditionally they want to hit that high draw with the driver, what I want to feel like is that my lead hip here at the start of the downswing is shifting to a 12:30 mark. Now for those that hit slices, I would often encourage them to feel like it's going to 1 o'clock. So I'm going to feel like I'm really moving the hip to that 1 o'clock motion. But when I do that, this club naturally drops in behind me. Because I'm not making that, I'm not physically forcing that to happen. The club will follow the hip direction on the way down. What you'll find it near impossible to do, and I've had players attempt this, is move the hip to 12:30 and try to still make the hands go across. It's not possible, okay? It fights one another and it cannot happen. So if we can train ourselves to start the downswing with the correct hip movement to the correct part of the clock face, what we're going to see is improved driving and hopefully that nice high draw. So we get to the top, we shift the hip towards that 12:30, the arms lower, I then rotate. This is the important thing. That shifting of the hip is only moving between 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches. It's not a 1980s knee driving, slamming the hip towards target motion. It's a very small bump to that 12:30. The arms will begin to lower. We then rotate through. We get up to our finish. We see the driver improve greatly. Guys, this is the same for when you're hitting the irons, okay? You want to hit the fade and the controlled fade. That hip needs to start the movement towards 11:30. So if I set up here, and we've got the yellow line here, that 12:30 line. We'll move it to 11:30 in practice. I set everything up normal here. So I'm setting up square to my intended target. As I start the way down, I'm going to feel like I'm pushing my hip towards that 11:30. The club now matches that yellow line. I work across and I hit the cut shot. So a really simple and effective way to learn to control the golf ball is by how your lead hip moves.